Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Glumcraft4652. The original OP is Able Algae posted to r/relationships August 27th, 2018. I, 23 female, caught my boyfriend, 26 male, 1 year on Tinder. He swears it's not true. I am going to lose my mind. My friend came to me yesterday at lunch with screenshots of my boyfriend's Tinder profile. The pictures were all old photos, so I confronted him immediately, expecting to hear something like, "Yeah, haha, I forgot to delete that," which is cool. He denied being on Tinder at all, and my friend suggested that she make an account, set it to his specifications, and see if he turns up. And there's his profile. So this means that my boyfriend has been active on Tinder within the past 2 weeks. I confronted him with this and he changed his story. Now he's saying that his friend has been using his account. He shows me his phone and says, "Look, I have nothing to hide." And of course the app is deleted. So I take his phone, download Tinder, log in with his Facebook, and see that he has been active, albeit infrequently. There was one girl that he tried to meet up with back in May when I was out of town. The girl gave him her phone number, and even though he deleted whatever messages they exchanged, I still saw that he had her saved in his contacts. So that's about everything that I know. He either cheated on me or planned on cheating on me while I went out of town, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the only time it's happened. The relationship is pretty much over. He's swearing up and down that it's not true. He doesn't use Tinder, and he doesn't know this girl. I'm going crazy with how much he's outright lying. He seems so sincere, but I know what I saw. I can't listen to him deny this one more time. I know that this is the end. I guess I'm looking for advice on how to end it in a way that doesn't leave me second-guessing myself. And moral support. Too long didn't read, caught my boyfriend on Tinder trying to meet up with girls while I was out of town. He's denying it so vehemently that I almost believe him. What do I do? Top/relevant comments. The mass I never had. Don't let him make you question yourself. That's gaslighting 101. Look at the facts and trust yourself. Make a decision and stick to it. OP responds, I want there to be a reasonable explanation for all of this. When my friend showed me his profile yesterday, I was sure that it was something silly. But there just isn't, right? It seems pretty clear to me what has happened. User Vacation Barbie X comments, if he's lying about Tinder and how he doesn't know this girl, what other things has he lied about/will lie about in the future? Plus, if he's willing to cheat when you're out of town, that just puts it all together for me. He's clearly not to be trusted. I just confront him and lay it out to him, wanting the whole truth or you're gone. OP responds, I feel like not knowing the whole truth is going to kill me, but I'm gone either way, honestly. User Certain Cynic comments, gaslighting, that's what this is, and this is exactly what my boyfriend did to me when I caught him cheating. I was literally logged into his POF account looking at the messages, and he was trying to deny it, and trying to make me seem crazy for believing it. You're not crazy, he's a cheater. You are not crazy. One more time for good measure. You are not crazy. No matter how he makes you feel about this. Edits from the main post. Edit 1. This blew up while I was away. I'm sorry I won't be able to respond to every comment. So, I did some stuff that was kind of petty and stupid today. I made a fake Tinder account, matched with my boyfriend, and he starts messaging me and immediately asks me to meet him for a drink. We agree to meet by a fountain in the center of my town, and I pack up all of his stuff in a tote bag, put on a great outfit, and went to the fountain. I stood kind of out of the way of the fountain in the shadows where I could watch the street that I knew he'd be arriving from. I was devastated, but I figured this way I could catch him without a doubt and end things quickly. All the time, he's messaging this girl on Tinder. But he didn't show up. 2 of his roommates did. We didn't speak, I don't know them well, but they watched me for a while. Figured out what was going on after a few more Tinder messages, and left quickly. So I wait a few minutes, and I call my boyfriend and ask him where he's at. He says he's just gotten off of work and he's going to meet his roommate for a drink. I confront him with the fake Tinder profile and he's dumbstruck and furious with his roommate, who he swears up and down is behind all of this. I'm at home now, just emotionally exhausted and confused. Whatever is going on with his roommates is super sketchy and creepy. Advice? Please? Edit 2. Thank you all so much for your advice and support. A few things that I think are important. Up until this point, my boyfriend and I had a great relationship. Really, no red flags anywhere. If I had already been suspicious that he was cheating, this would be a much easier break for me. The most recent message on his Tinder account when I checked it yesterday was sent to a girl he had matched with before we met. It said, "Would you want to meet up with my friend?" My boyfriend is the kind of person whose iPhone passcode is 0000. I wouldn't be surprised if his roommates did know all of his passwords. So his Tinder account is still matched with my fake profile. To me, that indicates that he probably isn't the person operating the Tinder profile. If it were him, wouldn't he have blocked the fake profile immediately? A lot of people have said that he probably sent his roommate to check things out for him. I can't write that off entirely, but my gut says that it isn't true. I just don't think it's very likely. When it comes to his roommates, I'm very concerned that they've been using his profile to trick women into meeting with him. The fact that his profile hasn't been deleted makes me worry that my boyfriend is in on this. So that's about where I'm at right now. I'm worried that all of them are working together to, at best, scam women, at worst, assault them, and my boyfriend is at least passively involved. Either way, I feel some responsibility to do a little more digging. Top/relevant comments. User @J's comments. You have all the info you need. He still has this girl in his contacts and tried, or did, meet up with her as soon as you were out of town. Who cares if he actually cheated or not? Think about how shitty of a person you have to be to pull that stunt. Then lie about it, claiming his friend was using his Tinder with his information and pictures? That's one of the dumbest things I've read on the sub. OP responds, after what happened tonight, I think I just need to get out as fast as possible. It was seriously weird that 2 of his roommates showed up. OP replied to a deleted comment. I feel so creeped out by the fact that it was 2 of them. It was just his one roommate that would have been easier to handle, but both of them showed up? It makes me worry that they didn't have good intentions for this fake Tinder girl. User Starving Muse responds, the edit still doesn't change the fact that he was talking to another woman and planned on meeting her and still had her numbers saved in his contacts. But his roommates, that is very sketchy. I do not have an explanation for that, but a bad gut feeling. OP responds, right? The fact that 2 people showed up instead of 1 makes me think that they had something planned for that fake Tinder girl they thought they were meeting with. User OsCatGirl responds within this comment chain, playing devil's advocate, his roommate may have been helping him out of this situation today with you. He can now say it was them all along. There was that girl's number in his phone. However, do you have access to his call history? OP responds, I do not have access to his call history anymore. Do you think my boyfriend could have figured out that it was me on a fake profile and sent his roommates? That seems a little bit far-fetched, but this whole thing has gotten pretty weird. User Occasional Asshat comments, after edit, it is completely possible his roommates are at fault. The only part that makes me question that is having the contact for that girl from when you were away. Can you get his cell phone logs? It should be in his bill. See if he texted her back in May. If he did, he's been lying to you. If not, he may be telling the truth. He can delete the thread on his phone, but not the messages from his cell phone bill. Either way, is that how that works? That doesn't feel like that should be how that works. Either way, he's got some explaining to do. Why would his roommate not just use their own account? They could be complete assholes, but then why would they actually show up? Is your ex-boyfriend a lot better looking than them? OP responds, my boyfriend is so much better looking than them, yeah. He's more charming too. I've only had very brief encounters with his roommates. They struggle with women for varying reasons, and anytime I've met one of them, they beg me to set them up with one of my friends. I probably can't get his cell phone logs. One thing that is worth mentioning though, while I was going through his Tinder messages, The most recent message was from a few weeks ago. It was sent to an old match who he hadn't messaged since before we got together, and it said, "Would you want to meet up with my friend?" User Steve Tentacles comments, "Well, this got really weird. I feel like maybe the edit casts some doubt on whether he actually cheated or not, but the whole thing sounds really shady. I don't see why he would be sending his roommate to scope out the situation. I've never heard of that even happening. Plus, it seems you and him both know the relationship is pretty much over, so why be so vigilant in covering his tracks at this stage? To me, it sounds like his roommates were using his phone on a fake Tinder, meeting up with girls 2-on-1 without their knowledge, and doing what exactly? The whole thing sounds really sketchy, and even if he wasn't cheating, I would question being in a relationship with someone who condones this kind of behavior. Plus, he probably was cheating anyway, you still found the phone number he got while you were away." OP responds, "I agree. I very much doubt that he would have sent his roommates to check things out. It's hard to explain why, but it just doesn't seem like something he'd do. Of course, cheating didn't seem like something he would do until very recently, so..." A huge part of what happens next is going to depend on how he handles things with his roommates. It seems like if he was really bothered by this, he would have stopped them already by changing his passwords or deleting his account. And as of this morning, the account is still up. User Caps Lion comments, "So I'm getting this weird feeling about both of his roommates showing up. I may be totally off base, but the only reason I can think of for two dudes to show up to a Tinder meetup is assault. I'd be kind of wary about all three of them if this is a shared account." OP responds, "That's my fear too. I'm very worried that they've been using his profile as a cover to assault women. It seems worth mentioning that my boyfriend has told me in the past that he dislikes his roommates, but stays friendly with them because it's the easiest way to live there. Once, a friend of mine asked me if I'd have him set her up with one of them, and he gave me a very hard no, which threw me off because every time I've spoken with one of them, they've begged me to set them up with someone." Final update, 3 days later. The original Too Long Didn't Read got my boyfriend on Tinder trying to meet up with girls while I was out of town. He's denying it so vehemently that I almost believe him. What do I do? But it got weirder. The girl whose phone number was in my boyfriend's phone was from Brazil, so I wasn't sure about calling or texting the number. But I did find her Facebook by searching for that phone number. I messaged her and asked about my boyfriend. She confirmed that she had matched with him on Tinder, and they exchanged phone numbers. The phone number she has is my boyfriend's correct phone number. But she never met up with him because when they exchanged more selfies, the man in the photos was clearly not my boyfriend. I met with my boyfriend and laid out everything for him. I showed him the fake profile, the messages I had exchanged with the Brazilian girl, told him about his roommates coming to the fountain the other night, and I told him that if he was honest with me about what was going on, we could work through things, but that if he kept lying, we were finished. I told him he needed to get real honest about what was going on between him, his roommates, and this Tinder account. Here's what happened, and I believe this all to be true. When my boyfriend upgraded his phone, he gave his old phone to his roommate, and when he reset it, he let his roommate connect to his Apple ID. So that's fucking stupid. So my boyfriend had shared his Apple ID password with him, and they've been sharing an account. His roommate, for reasons we don't totally understand, managed to get on his Tinder profile and started using it as his own. He said he thought he looked enough like the pictures that he could get away with it. They're both of the same ethnicity, but my boyfriend is way hotter, so I'm not sure how his roommate thought that would work out. When his roommate can't pay his own phone bill, my boyfriend will often lend him his phone or switch SIM cards for a while. I know this sounds strange, but I know for a fact that it is true. When I was out of town in May, boyfriend's roommate matched with this Tinder girl. Got her phone number, but couldn't text her because he hadn't paid his own bill. So, he could contact her on Tinder through Wi-Fi, but not send texts. Since I was out of town anyway, and I was the only person my boyfriend needs to contact, he agreed to let his roommate use his phone to talk to this girl, but didn't know at that point that his roommate was catfishing this girl with his old pictures. Both roommates showed up to meet the fake Tinder girl because I had told them on the fake account that the girl had a roommate. Their plan was to meet with this girl and convince her to bring her roommate out as well, for his friend. Not a great idea. Kind of weird, but okay. Boyfriend, of course, was furious with his roommates and made sure the account was permanently deleted. This has been the craziest, most exhausting week of my life. I believe that this is how everything happened. My boyfriend and I are working on repairing the relationship. Too long didn't read, it was his roommate all along. /relevant comments. Catatronic. Holy guacamole, OP. That's crazy. First of all, I hope your significant other cuts off contact with that friend. This is how he gets treated after everything he's done. Also, I still don't fully believe the roommate's story about why both of them came. Maybe they're socially illiterate enough to not realize how weird that is, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just trying to cover up nefarious intentions. Deleted user comments. Glad to hear your boyfriend wasn't cheating on you. It really makes you think about knee-jerk reactions on Reddit. And again, most of these stories don't have a happy ending. User Julius Seizure comments. Wow, it's actually really good you tried to set him up, otherwise you'd probably still think he was guilty. I would too. What worries me is his roommates are lying to girls about who they are. What's even more worrying is that he brought a friend with him on the date when he never mentioned he would. I genuinely think they may be trying to take advantage of a girl because this is all incredibly weird and suspicious. Seriously, I would file a police report for identity fraud or something along the lines of that. Don't delete evidence you have. None of this sounds right. Hopefully, since your boyfriend was never lying, you will be able to make up. So the whole Apple ID thing and SIM card swapping thing just seems really fucking odd to me. OP says apparently it's common, which to me that seems just even weirder because that means like, hey, when you're trying to text your boyfriend like private things, does that pop up on the friend's phone who's borrowing his SIM card because he couldn't afford his phone bill? Or do you guys just only use like Skype or Discord or something? Because that's my first thought on this is that just seems really weird to me, but it does at least mostly connect the dots in question. So it really boils down to either your boyfriend is a malicious actor who's also involved with these roommates, or he's way too kind and potentially a pushover and or stupid. But let's turn it to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you believe the boyfriend's story here? Do you think that he's telling the truth, or do you think there's more going on here? I am inclined to believe the SIM card swapping story because guys can be really weird sometimes about just lending shit out that's weirdly personal or private. So I know that that's not impossible. It's just something where I'm sitting here with the mindset of, you let your friend use your SIM card and you pulled it out of your own phone. So he fails to pay his bill so you don't get to have cell service? That just feels really off and really dumb and short-sighted to me, I guess. This post was collected by Shark Ava, and their tagline is, "No sex tonight, just add 50 justice." The original OP is Fluffy Spanish, posted to r/amItheasshole the 4th of November 2025. Oh yeah, this one's recent. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my inheritance with the siblings who are now threatening to sue me for undue influence? Sorry for the long post, I'm just too angry to think straight. My father passed away a few months ago. In his will, he left his entire estate to me, explicitly disinheriting my brother Mark, 40 male, and sister Jenna, 38 female. The thing is, 10 years ago, my father gave them $150,000 each as an advance on their inheritance to start businesses, because they begged and begged. He had a lot of money back then, so it wasn't much to him. Both of them blew it within 2 years, vacations, cars, etc., and had the nerve to ask him for more. When he refused, they got cruel. They stopped visiting, wouldn't let him see his grandkids, and badmouthed him to the entire family, claiming he was a miser who was hoarding their money. I was the only one who was there for him. I took him to doctor's appointments, helped him with his finances without ever touching a dime for myself because, unlike my siblings, I have a great job that I worked hard for, and was with him in hospice when he died. It was just me and him at the end. His will is ironclad, written by his longtime lawyer, and includes a clause stating they received their share during my lifetime. Mark and Jenna are furious. They've been blowing up my phone, saying I poisoned him against them. They're badmouthing me to the family, and I'm getting phone calls from relatives that I should help them. Now, they've hired a lawyer, and today I was served papers. They're threatening to contest the will, claiming I took advantage of our father in his old age and used undue influence to get him to cut them out. They offer to drop the lawsuit if I just give them $100,000 each. I told them to get lost, and that I would never give them a single cent of our father's money after how they treated him. I am so angry, I could barely speak. Am I the asshole for telling them I'd see them in court and refusing to give them anything? I'm honestly not worried that fighting this in court will take more in legal fees than just paying them, but I'm so angry that I need an outside opinion because I've lost perspective. Comments. Kindly push 3460. Not the asshole. Like the will states, your siblings received their inheritance while your father was alive. You know you have nothing to feel guilty about. Even if you gave them money, they would blow through it and ask again for handouts as, it's not fair that you still have money and they don't. Block them and carry on with your life knowing you were there for your dad. User Virtual Choir Boy comments. Don't block, mute and ignore. People like the brother and sister love to keep digging when they find themselves in a hole. Always nice when they provide all the evidence too. Professional Yam 3119 comments. You are very wise. Let them show their hands. Lothar Landrew comments. Never interrupt your opponent when they are making a mistake. Irrelevant Manatee comments. Not the asshole, don't give them a cent, they're bluffing. They can try to sue, but they would need some proofs in order for the trial to take place. As they don't have anything, the trial probably won't even happen. Opie responds, I thought the same thing until I got served papers and it all became real. I'm going to call a lawyer once I stop fuming. I just hate the idea of losing any money at all over this. The worst is I feel like I'm the only one in this family who's grieving, and I'm just so drained over all this. It's been a very long few months. Also, I really like my nieces and nephews. The idea of not seeing them again is awful. OK Recognition 9876 comments, contact the lawyer who helped your father with his will. OP responds, thank you. Why didn't I think of this? It's been such a long few months. I have an appointment with an attorney tomorrow, but I'll call him now. Lazy Instruction 600 comments, definitely call your dad's old lawyer. He may have drafted some form of acknowledgement that the prior payouts to your siblings were made as their early inheritance distribution. If they signed anything like that, they're dead in the water. If their lawyer sees that, they will drop your siblings as clients in a heartbeat. Judgment, not the asshole. Update, 2 days later. Just wanted to make a quick update. Thanks to everyone who suggested contacting the lawyer who drew up the will. I sent him all of the papers and texts I'd received, and it turned out that sending people texts in California that say things like, it won't stop until you give us the money, is considered criminal extortion by letter, which is a felony. He contacted their lawyer, and it turns out they lied to him about a lot of things, and he was not enthused about the extortion. Everything fell apart pretty fast, and it didn't cost me anything. I'll probably never see my nieces and nephews again, at least not until they're much older. And the other family members are angry at me because they feel the extortion was actually my fault for giving them no other options. I decided I'm going to just move away and find peace elsewhere after I'm done dealing with the estate. I can't believe things got so ugly over money, but I'm out. Some people commented in my original post that they'd had similar experiences, and I really feel for you all. It's a really unfair position to be put in, and there's a helpless element to it that just sucks. Learned a valuable lesson about the importance of keeping receipts. Comments. Outcast Spice comments. Thanks for the update. People get really unhinged when death and money are involved. Glad you'll be able to get some space, and I'm sorry for your loss. OP responds, I'm realizing their goal is just to have everyone be as miserable as they are. It's not really about the money, it's that I might be happy and they'll still be miserable. And that's unacceptable for them. Even if they had the money, I don't think anything would have changed. I hope the kids rebel and turn into decent human beings when they grow up. If they do, I hope to hear from them someday. Aggravating Sock 6502. Consider writing letters for your nibblings, giving them a short summary of the truth of what happened, since you know their parents are going to absolutely trash you to them. And let them know you'll always love them and be there for them. Then talk with your lawyer if it's possible to have those letters served to them on their 18th birthdays. Gotta love the logic of your father passed, stated in his will that he had already paid out the portion of the will to your other siblings, And when they requested more money, which would be in direct violation of your father's will, and you said no, you left them no other choice but to attempt to extort you. Greed is such a frustrating mindset because you're pretty much in the standpoint of having to try to argue against someone's very definition of reality. Because in their minds, they fully believe that they're entitled to 1/3 of their father's estate, even though they already received $150,000 of a preemptive payment. But at this point in time, you're pretty much arguing your reality or objective reality against theirs and trying to convince them that their entitlement is invalid. Honestly, you have better luck as a possum for your mechanic than you do walking someone down from their greedy delusions. This post was collected by Shark Ava, and you know what their tagline is. The original OP is Major Perception 3519, posted in r/am I the asshole. Original update 31st of May 2025, with another update 25th of June 2025, with a final update on the 5th of November 2025. Would I be the asshole if I asked my employee if she's pregnant? I own a small cafe and only have one employee. She was recommended by a frequent customer, her husband, when I posted the listing. I interviewed multiple people, and she was not only the nicest one, but genuinely the best candidate. She'd been a stay-at-home mom for 11 years for 3 kids and said that she felt it was more important for her to be there with them than working. And I can't and don't fault her for that at all. She shows up, she works, she does everything and more than I need her to do. I have zero complaints about her as an employee. However, over the last 4 months, I've noticed some changes. Number 1, she is tiny. And when I say tiny, I mean that. This girl probably weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. And she's never worn tight-fitting shirts, but her shirts are starting to fit tighter. Only in the stomach area. And it doesn't take staring to notice. Number 2, she used to only take her food to go at the end of the day. Now she'll ask me to cook it earlier. Not an issue, she can ask whenever she wants. But she eats at least half of it immediately. She's never done that before, even if she got it before she left. Number 3, her husband has come in a few times, and also her father, and asked her things along the lines of how she's feeling. And I've overheard her talking about doctor's appointment multiple times. Now, we live in a right-to-fire state, so after talking to my wife, I get why she might be worried to tell me in the case I might do so. But I don't want to, and I won't. But I'll admit, I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't a bit worried she'll have the baby and not come back to work when she's the only one here to help me out. So, would I be an asshole / way out of line for asking her if she's having a baby? Before we get to the comments, I really just want to stress the line of, I don't want to and I won't, when it comes to firing her for being pregnant. Anyways, comments are somewhat hostile to OP. Deleted user, yes, you're the asshole, for sure. 1, she has every right to privacy and you have no right to ask. If she's choosing not to share, assuming there is anything to share in the first place, there may be a good reason for it, medical or otherwise. Or maybe she just doesn't feel it's a necessary conversation to have with her employer because she's not required to do so. 2, I'm not going to assume anything about state employment laws where you are, but even if you follow them and can legally terminate her because you think she might be pregnant, you're the asshole. Also, you run a cafe, not a surgical team. Hire someone part-time so you feel more comfortable. Sheesh. OP responds, I do not intend to fire her at all. I just need to make arrangements for whatever amount of time she needs off if she'd like to come back. We haven't been open even a year, and our space is limited. 3+ employees will be trampling on each other in our cooking area. Upbeat bid 1602. You're the asshole. Right to fire equals right to quit. Did she sign a contract? Are you offering her benefits, health insurance, retirement? You fully admit that you could fire her for being pregnant if you wanted to, but somehow you're the victim because she might quit and you'd have to, gasp, find another employee. It's a job at a cafe. It's none of her business if she's pregnant and she doesn't owe you anything. OP responds, I do not mean to imply I'm a victim at all. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm concerned that not only she could be worried about it when it won't happen, but also that if she decides not to come back, my wife is the one who pointed out that she could be worried for that reason. And we're a small business. It is only the employee and I every day, so with it being only us, there are no benefits. However, anytime she needs to be off, she gets off, and I can usually find a family member who can help out for the day. But that's harder to do when it's all the time, which is my only worry. I will not fire her. She can work until she has the baby, if she is having one, and if she decides to stay home with that one as well. Then that's fine and up to her and her husband. But if I need to hire new help by a certain point, I would also like to know that too, because at this point, even the people that were helping out before can't help out like she does. So I'd like to have the time to train someone. It's just the two of us, so that would be helpful. Judgment, you're the asshole. Update, 25 days later. She is pregnant. I did not ask her. Her husband told me and said he's been telling her she needed to tell me, but she said she wasn't sure about how much time to ask off for, if I think she wasn't coming back, or if I'd need help and nobody else could help, because the job has become important to her, so she kept putting it off. He said her plan was to come back after 2 weeks, but these are his words before everyone comes for my head again, said he wasn't going to let her at that point, which I fully understand. From there, I decided I should save all the tips that would be hers and give them to her. So that is what I'm going to do, just so she's not completely out of pay, and she's honestly earned it. She truly is a great employee, and I'm happy for her and her husband and their family. So basically, while she's on leave, he's going to take the money from the tips that would have been hers if she was working and give them to her while she's currently taking care of her child, which is a pretty fucking awesome thing to do. Comments. Lena listens loud. You acted like the boss she desperately needed, and that's worth more than any policy or contract. Stay the course and support her openly, because loyalty is born when people feel seen and valued, and she will repay that tenfold when she returns. OP responds, I honestly couldn't ask for a better employee than her. I'm glad she plans to come back when she's had the time she feels, or I guess her husband, according to what he said, feels she needs to come back to work. Mark a goal. I love how in your original post you got downvoted for saying that she has her job guaranteed if she decides to come back. OP responds, I know, I probably could have phrased my post better somehow, but it seemed like everybody missed that part. User JarvisKitty comments, do you have a lot of regular customers who know her and will miss her? Maybe you could ask if she minds, once the baby is born, if you let people know why she's off work for a while, and perhaps have a dedicated tip jar for Employees New Baby Fund, so her regular customers can contribute if they like, or offer to share her registry link with regulars? Whole ad 3374 comments, I second this. This is such a great idea. If I was a customer, I would 100% chuck in a few extra tips if an employee I saw often was having a baby. OP responds, oh, they will definitely miss her. I won't be recognizing their voices on the phone immediately or their phone numbers in the caller ID, or just knowing what they want to drink and having it ready without them specifying it, or any extra sauces they want without them telling me. This is a good idea. Thank you. Update. 5 months later. Final update. My employee was made aware that her job was here when/if she was ready to come back, but definitely don't be a stranger while you're on maternity leave. Please bring that baby in here eventually. She laughed and agreed. Baby arrived very early yesterday morning. Her husband called me to tell me what was happening once their sweet girl was here. I waited until today for the visitors to die down to ask if I could bring them something to eat. And I made her, employees, favorite food item from work. This was her request. I would have taken her something else had she asked for it. And her husband, his. She didn't say anything about him, but I did it anyway, assuming she was in the fog if she needed food and forgot he existed in the moment. My wife and I arrived this afternoon, got to meet the newest member of their family. Mom and baby are both safe and healthy, and that is the cutest and smallest baby I've seen in my life. Her older siblings are obsessed with her, and needless to say, her parents are as well. She is very, very loved. Just wanted to give the happy update to this. Baby girl is here and is healthy, loved, and mom/employee knows she has nothing to fear in regards to her job. Comments. Oh, wise one comments. You're a great employer. I'm sure she'll come back. OP responds. She's a great employee, so she makes it easy. I hope she comes back, but if she chooses not to, I'll never falter for it. User Linen Fox comments, you are so kind, but reading your previous posts, what the hell is right to fire state? Like, you can fire people who are pregnant? Genuine question. Just there for eighth. I live in one. It means you can fire someone for any reason whatsoever as long as you don't say why. You can fire them. Or if you give a reason, it can't be a discriminatory one. So, if their state is like mine, if she told him she was pregnant, he could fire her but not actually have to state why. She could assume, but she couldn't prove it, especially if he has any mistakes she's made in the past in his pocket to use. Gotta love the common trend of Reddit just lacking all in any reading comprehension. Hey, I live in a state that has these laws here, and I think my employee might be pregnant. How do I communicate with her that if she is pregnant, she's totally in the clear, her job is secured, and I will not do this? You're the asshole for even mentioning that that's an option. How dare you? Sheesh. Like, Buddy was just asking how he can assure his employee that their job is safe and they have nothing to be fearful of, while also wanting to ensure that they could make preparations while they're gone. But no. OP is apparently the asshole for that. Like, I know in my, 430 episodes, I've definitely had my fair share of missteps where I've missed information, but this one feels just especially goofy. Like, this isn't information that was in the beginning that could have been forgotten by the end of the read. This is like final paragraph, third to last sentence. Like, it should really be fresh on the mind if you actually read through the entirety of it, so it just feels like extra goofy to me for some reason. But beyond that, it's nice seeing an employer that's actually looking out for their employees and vice versa. And on top of that, I'm happy this has a pretty wholesome ending. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code OZ at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code OZ directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Bear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code OZ at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.